This is Duke University.
I'm Shane Goodrum. I'm the Director of Educational Programs for Duke TIP, and it's my distinct pleasure this morning to welcome you. Welcome the very best and brightest of the 7th grade students here in the Southeast to join us in celebrating all their accomplishments and know all the things that they will be doing in the next years. We'll be watching them through the years as they move into college and careers, and know that they're going to be leading our society in ways that will make life better for all of us. So welcome, and thank you for coming here to celebrate with us today. What we're here to do this morning is to talk with you a little bit about the kind of programming that we have at Duke TIP for students. And some of this programming happens in the summer, some of it happens during the academic year, and some of it happens online and in a variety of ways. But we wanted you to have a good sense of the kind of programs that we offer. Now, I have to tell you, right now, our programs are pretty much full for the summer. So if you have not already secured a place in one of those programs this year, you'll probably be waiting until next year to do that because admissions at this point is closed. But we'll be opening our academic year programming in the August, September timeframe, and you'll be able to sign up for courses. So what I've done is invited some of the people here who work, not everybody. You'll see a lot of people who work at Duke TIP, but we spend all year planning programs, working for very highest of academic rigor to offer programs that will challenge these very, very bright students, let them enhance what they're learning in their regular school curriculum, and enjoy learning as they are so capable of doing. You've seen pictures while you've been waiting for us to get started of some of our students there, and that's one of the things we enjoy watching those each year. So there are programs here representing all the way from 4th grade up through 12th grade. Some of you are past the 4th grade years, but you may have younger siblings that are coming along that might be interested in those programs. So we're going to talk about all the programs that we have. There'll be some that go through 7th through 10th grade, others that go all the way through your high school year, and some really special opportunities. So I'm going to ask the people here who work with these programs to talk about each one of them for just a few minutes, and then we are going to go into a question and answer mode and try to answer your questions about programs and what we can do. We'll be around, at least some of us will be around all day. We'll be out in the lobby before we have the admissions program starting at 10:30. So between now and 10:15, we'll have a little time to answer questions and to introduce our programs to you. So I'm going to ask Tracy Walker to start with us, who is from our distance learning programs.
Good morning. Okay, I'm the first person, so I'm going to do that thing. Good morning. All right, thank you very much for being here early. Good to see you all. It's always good to see your faces every year. I'm really grateful to be here. So my name's Tracy Walker. I'm the Assistant Director for Operations and New Program Development here at Duke TIP. I work in the Educational Innovation and Outreach Division, and I have the privilege of overseeing our eStudies program. eStudies is our online academic program for 7th through 11th grade students. The experience takes place over the summer, and it lasts 7.5 weeks. eStudies is designed with a focus on connecting students to an expert instructor, connecting students to one another, and connecting students with stimulating and challenging academic ideas. Each course has a small student-to-instructor ratio of 24:1, which allows our instructors to provide ongoing personal feedback and mentorship. This is a point that we really like to emphasize with families because as online learning, as distance learning is sort of coming to the fore for not just students, but college students and adults as well, we aren't in an environment where we have 100 or 1,000 or 1,500 students per instructor or per TA. We really like to keep that 24:1 ratio because that allows our instructors to give students one-on-one attention throughout the summer. Students connect with classmates through asynchronous forum discussions and 2 instructor-hosted live video conference sessions per week. They also create and present work together using collaborative Web 2.0 tools and other instructional technologies. Our distance learning environment allows students to take their learning on the road and stay mobile throughout the summer, but it's not self-paced. Each class has a regular meeting time and weekly assignments, and students tackle new material together as a group. This year, just to give you a few examples, our students will be creating and editing their own documentary films that are shot with their smartphones. They'll be designing and developing their own mobile applications and websites. They'll be debating ethics in medical environments and exploring the relationship between architectural history and modern practice while drafting their own designs using virtual computers hosted here at Duke. Students will cover about a semester's worth of college or advanced high school material over the summer, and they'll meet other students with their same passions and academic interests. My personal favorite aspect of our program, all of our online programs, but especially eStudies, is that over that summer, students will find their tribe. This is something that we really believe in here at TIP, the social emotional connection that students have with one another and finding their people. It really does matter, and the students in our online programs are able to do that with students from around the country and around the world, and meet other students who desire to learn and grow just like they do. I'm going to talk really briefly also about our younger online program for students who are in the 5th and 6th grade. This summer we are debuting this online program. It's called E-Investigators. In this month-long program, we ask our 5th and 6th grade students a fairly straightforward question. That question is, can you crack the case? In this 4-week-long experience, students collaborate to solve cases that are based on real-world mysteries found in fields such as medicine, history, archaeology, science, and law. Over 1 month, our e-investigators collect and analyze new data that unfolds throughout the term. They develop their own theories, and they are all leading up to a possible answer and to a real-life conundrum. We designed and piloted e-investigators over the course of 18 months. And we did so in order to develop a really unique program that would allow our younger students to explore new topics by taking on an immersive, mystery-based role. In this program, our instructors are not called instructors or teachers, they're called lead investigators, because we really want students in that age group to feel that they're about to embark on a journey as a group, and that they are just one of a group of other investigators, and that even the instructor is asking critical questions throughout the term. And then finally, I just want to share that we like to let our parents know that the Educational Innovation Outreach Division works very hard to have online places that are safe and also online places that are guarded. So we have a Google Apps for Education domain, which means that we have an environment that's built just for TIP students, just for tipsters. And this walled environment allows us to teach the foundations of good and safe digital citizenship alongside online learning skills that are becoming increasingly critical for students in the digital age. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you online.
Good morning. My name is David Rosenthal, and unlike most of the rest of the people up here that are going to be talking about this summer, I focus on the other 9 months of the year. So I'm the assistant director for the academic year programming that we do at TIP. In general, we have 2 types of academic year programs. We do one called Academic Adventures, which anybody who was here for the ceremony today will have aged past that opportunity. So that's grades 4th through 6th. Those are 1-day Saturday programs. And then we have the Scholar Weekend program, which are 2-day weekend programs for grades 7 through 11. These happen here in North Carolina, so we host them in a couple places here in North Carolina, including here at Duke. And then we also partner with a number of institutions throughout our talent search region, a number of universities and private schools, University of Georgia, places in Texas, Florida, Kansas, other places throughout our region that are going to be closer to where some of you all live. And these programs are in general designed to be brief academic experiences that fit within the bigger picture of what everybody is doing during their academic year. What we don't want these to be is just sort of a repeat of what all of our students are doing on their Monday through Friday schedule in school. So our academic adventures with the younger students are designed to be really interactive, hands-on experience, student-led. So the students are coming onto campus. They're getting to work with professors, graduate students, people in industry, to take a really interactive approach to some of these topics that they might not be seeing Monday through Friday. The Scholar Weekend it's a pretty intensive, full weekend. And these, with the focus on the older students, we know that they're starting to think about college, starting to think about careers. And so the focus of a lot of these programs are based around things that they might be doing. And we really take it as an opportunity to take sort of a deep dive into relatively specific topics, be it courses on virtual reality, courses on 3D computer modeling, courses on Shakespeare, science fiction. We do creative writing workshops. And so we know that our students are very busy. They do a lot in their schools on those Monday through Fridays, and we hope that we see this as an opportunity for them to step out of that learning environment and into a slightly different one with TIP. And we know that this is an opportunity for them to interact with their peers that might be a little bit different than the interaction with their peers they see in their regular schools. And so, as I said at the beginning, these are the academic year programs, so we offer these a couple of times, each of these programs in the fall and then again in the spring, and at a location that hopefully is convenient to as many of our students as possible. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Melissa Rains, and I'm the Assistant Director for Elementary Programming. And I work with our Crisis program, which is for our 5th and 6th grade students. Do we have any Crisis alumni in the audience today? Yay, I see a few hands out there. Crisis is our first summer program experience for residential opportunity for Duke TIP students. And you spend a week on a college campus learning and working together with other students to solve a crisis event. So for this year, we're doing a hurricane, we've done a pandemic, we've done an oil spill. Students join one of 7 research teams, and they put on the hat of that professional. And that could be as a marine biologist or a broadcast journalist, an architect, a meteorologist, various different things depending on the different crisis event. We have a 16 maximum student registration in each course to keep that student ratio low with an instructor and a teaching assistant. And then we also have a robust and fully developed residential curriculum. So again, as I mentioned, this is the opportunity for the students in Duke TIP to have that first away from home with Duke TIP on a college campus chance for that residential curriculum. So they're with us for a week. Parents bring them on Sunday, and they pick them up the following Friday. And we do a myriad of different opportunities with them during that time. So most of you in the room today have aged out of that. A few of you, I'm glad to see, have participated. Your younger siblings would be eligible to apply for those programs when they are in the 5th or 6th grades. Thanks so much for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you receiving your medals later this afternoon.
Good morning. I'm Sally Starfield, and I'm the Assistant Director for Academic Affairs. So I oversee academics for our 7th through 10th grade programming. That's 12 sites here in the mostly Southeast, some in Texas. And I'm just going to tell you the who, what, when, where, why of academics at summer stays. So the who is who comes. That's you guys. So it's the 7th through 10th graders who have qualified based on their SAT and the ACT scores to take our classes. And then our instructors, who are they? They are professors, they are sometimes teachers, they are all content specialists. So sometimes they're people from industry, sometimes they're graduate students, and they're people who are up to date with cutting edge topics in the fields that we offer. So what are those fields? Those fields are science, social science, math, fine arts, technology, and humanities. So what are some of the courses we offer? We offer robotics, we offer Shakespeare drama and literature classes, writing classes, anthropology, forensic science. It just runs the gamut. Lots of medical science classes, engineering classes. And so where are these programs? They are throughout the country, in Florida, Georgia, Texas, North Carolina. And then why come to TIP? Because you'll meet people like you, and you'll get the opportunity to study in depth a topic that you're really excited about. And we know that the gifted mind and the academically inclined student really wants to dive deeply and ask those hard questions and the why, and to get their hands on the learning. And so that's what we do. You only take one class during the summer, and it's 108 contact hours for 3 weeks. That's a lot. That's almost like a full year of school for one class, and you're doing it in 3 weeks, and you're living on a college campus, and you're with like-minded students. So it's a really special summer experience. And the reason that we know this, not just because we work here and we make this come together, is we have so many people who write us letters and who come back and want to work for us because of their really special experience that they had in the summer as a tipster. So I want to leave you with the quote that is my favorite quote from a 7th grader who had taken a tip class, and he said, "Comparing regular school to tip is like comparing jumping to flying." So I encourage you to come fly with us in the summer and take our summer stays classes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Paris Andrew, and I have the pleasure of serving as our Dean of Students and Assistant Director for Residential Affairs with Duke TIP, really ultimately cultivating that out-of-classroom experience. So Sally so eloquently shared about what the students will get in the classroom setting. I'll get to share with you about how we develop the students' social and emotional needs while they're at the campus. Now, by show of hands, how many of you all, if and when you were in college, parents, actually stayed on campus, lived on campus at your university? Fabulous. And we know there's lots of benefits to that, right? Now, how many of you all either were resident assistants or advisors, or remember your resident advisor down the hall from you? Yeah? There we go. We actually have that same kind of framework, although your RA didn't follow you around everywhere and supervise you in every walking moment, but same type of framework. Your RA had those subtle ways of trying to cultivate you and your transition and acclimation to campus. Ours, our residential staff, do the same with Duke TIP. So ultimately, we like to try to bridge that bond of the students from the classroom into their out-of-classroom experience. We have kind of a tiered model of that support. Melissa shared about the crisis program. It's just 1 week away, 1 week that your students will be away from you. And then we jump to that 3-week period of time for our 7th through 10th graders. And then the field studies program, which Mary Barzee will share soon, actually jumps back to that 2-week model of a residential experience, because we know that our older students are likely trying to prepare for college and fill up their summers with other things. So once the students are actually on campus with us in either one of those programs, they will go through an orientation. They're going to go through all of those great team building, bonding activities. They're going to get a tour likely of the campus area where we are designated to be at that particular university. And they're going to have the opportunity to meet with a cohort of students who will live in the residence hall with them on the same wing. We actually have a residence life coordinator who oversees the full Res Life program at a particular Duke TIP site, and then they supervise residential counselors who are typically college students or college graduates who will be working directly with your student. And so they'll live a few doors down from your student, and they'll have a pocket of students of, let's say, anywhere between 10 and about 14 students that will report to them, and they provide great programming and activities for their out-of-classroom experience. Our students are actively supervised the whole time that they're at the campus. So during free time, when they're out tossing Frisbee on the quad, in the residence hall, when they want to hang out and just read a book in the lobby, our staff are pitched in those various locations, actively monitoring where your students are and their engagement in the program. So now on to those great activities that are happening. What can I expect in the evenings? You all have probably seen some great images here, but we actually have a programming model, actual curriculum for all of our residential programs. And so we actually like to call it Tip Star, a little play off of our term of endearment for tipsters. But the points along the star represent various points of interest, from service, health and wellness, diversity, fine arts, and leadership. And our staff coined their activities based around that. So in a given night, you might get to attend activities like painting without brushes, jam sessions, ultimate Frisbee tournaments, salsa in salsa. Maybe you're learning how to dance salsa, but also eating salsa and hanging out with your friends. You're having pointless debates, cookies and karaoke. These are just some of the ones that our talented staff bring for you all to engage in. Then there's large-scale activities. There's always a dance every weekend for the summer studies program, so it's always usually a theme. There's field day competitions, lip singing contests we like to call Tip Sync, and there's even carnivals for programs like Crisis. And then lastly, usually the staff will host a culminating activity at a particular Duke Tip residential program. So it might be a big carnival event, like at Crisis, or perhaps a talent showcase at Field Studies or Summer Studies, where the students actually hop on a stage like this and share their random, awesome talents. So if you all have any questions with reference to the out-of-classroom experience at TIP, I'll be hanging around here, and I would love to answer them and get to know you all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian Denton. I'm the Assistant Director for Operations, and I work across our educational programs, but I work primarily with our summer studies. And so, you know, Sally told you about in-class, and Paris told you about what's out of class, what's left. Making sure you have a bed to sleep in, making sure you have a ride from the airport to the campus, making sure that somebody there knows how to deal with your allergies or your medical needs, insurance, budget, all those kind of thrilling ideas, so I'm going to not say a whole lot. I do want to welcome you here and congratulate you. I'm going to give away a little bit of my age. I was sitting right where you were 35 years ago. I was in the very first talent search back in 1981, and here I am 35 years later, still associated with Duke and Duke Tip. And so I know the scariness of sitting there thinking about, well, here we go. It's like being on a roller coaster and somebody has just pushed the start button and you're off and going. And so for those of you that are joining us this summer, it's going to be a wild ride. For those of you that are thinking about some of these other opportunities or things that you might do with Duke Tip in the upcoming years or other academically challenging programs before you go to college, it's a fun but often scary time, and we are here as a resource, not just with our programs, but with our other online resources to help you through this process, to help you manage it, but to give you just a couple of operational things about summer studies. I work with our marketing department to get out a lot of the notices that you would have received about summer programs this year, and so it's a totally different schedule after 7th grade. And so this year you would have registered in March, but for those of you that are already thinking about 2017, which I am, those registrations happen in January, and you get notices in December and January getting you prepared for that, for that time span. Because we already have your scores and we already know that you're qualified, we can do the registration process a little bit earlier than we can for 7th graders in the process. Last thing I want to say is that while they're preparing for the summer in terms of classroom and out-of-classroom residential experiences, I'm one of the people that runs around behind the scenes, and I do a lot of pre-program planning, do a lot of time on the phone this time of year talking with parents about things like putting a 13-year-old on an airline, about allergies, about accommodations, about what it's like on a college campus. And so as we move into the Q&A session, I'd be more than happy to field some of those questions about what it's like to actually have your child gone for 3 weeks. Thanks.
I'm Mary Barzee, and I oversee the Field Studies program. First of all, congratulations. I really enjoy being in the presence of so many bright young people and their caring, enthusiastic parents. Thank you for being here today. If you look around, you're going to realize that you are being admitted to an elite club today. You and your colleagues are going to invent the unimaginable. You're going to create something valuable to society. You're going to lead and discover and publish. You're going to make lots of money. You're going to work too hard, and you're going to win many more prizes and awards between you. But how? How are you going to get there from where you're sitting today? You're going to maintain your curiosity. You're going to challenge yourselves. You're going to enjoy hard work with the company of friends. You're going to learn to fail. You're going to try new things. You're going to learn to support one another. You're going to learn the value of friendship. You're going to play. You're going to learn to overcome challenges as a team. You're going to work hard, even though there's no grade and no tangible prize to be won. You're going to discover yourselves. And you're going to figure out ways to apply your gifts and talents. Duke Tip summer programs and year-round programs give you the opportunity to learn from one another, to play and to challenge each other, and to spend a few weeks in the company of your new elite club at a critical time in your development as a person, with no grades in a supportive environment. So Duke Tip Field Studies, the program that I oversee, is for 9th through 12th graders, and it, like the other programs, is an intense academic and social experience. Our courses are most often taught by professionals in the field. There are 4 staff members and 24 students to a team. And several of the instructors have told us that it is energizing and inspiring to work with youth from Duke Tip in the summer, and that they feel a renewed passion for their academic discipline after sharing it in a field study setting with students like you. This year, we have courses in marine sciences in Florida, physics, astronomy, and astrobiology at a former NASA tracking station in western North Carolina. We have a new history and political science course that goes to Berlin. We have a tropical medicine and ethnobiology course in Costa Rica. We have medical innovations and filmmaking here at Duke University, a creative writing course at a retreat center in New Mexico, and an international law course that travels to The Hague to investigate peace and justice in Europe. Our course selections vary year by year, and admissions open in January. And Field Studies is a Duke Tip program that your older brothers and sisters may be eligible for, whether or not they were part of the Duke Tip talent search. For Field Studies, it's not necessary to be part of the talent search in order to apply. Students submit a portfolio application, which includes a short answer questions, and a student's academic record. There's not a qualifying minimum test score required in order to apply for the Field Studies program, but it is a competitive selective program. We hope that you consider joining us for any of our Duke Tip summer programs. And one of the students wrote me a little note and said, "I would not have been able to experience all this anywhere else. Thank you so much." We hope to be able to provide you with a great summer experience that will help you cultivate your skills and talents. And we'll be taking questions. Thank you for being here.
So you can see we've got a lot of really talented people working really hard to build the kind of programs that will help you as you grow. So we're going to open it for the next part of the program for question and answer about any of these programs or any of the things that you have about Duke Tip programming-wise. And we've got folks here Susan and Michael down here with microphones, because we're in a big space, it's going to be a little hard for us to hear your question if you don't let them bring that microphone to you. So we're going to open it for questions, and then the team here will answer it based on what their work is.
Hi. Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for such a nice welcome. It's an honor for my son to be here. My question would be for Sally about the summer programs. Do you have the statistics about how many students apply and, how we are doing? Because, we were excited, son was excited, but when we enrolled in it, and we did it in the first day, and then we got the email about the wait list.
Yes.
So, we were on the peak, and then all the enthusiasm go away. So unless, there may be, we chose a location which may be more in demand and as compared to other ones, but we do not have any information, any of your websites, or even from the previous years, where the students went more, where are the, spots available if he wants to choose another program, because, we cannot fill it with 20 or 30 choices, when we are filling up an application. So can you please enlighten us for that? Thank you.
Sure, that's a great question. Thank you. And I know that that's a very disappointing position to be in when you get the letter and you're like, oh, wow, I can go and take all these fantastic classes. Which ones do I narrow it down to? But we have to remember that what we're doing here at Duke Tip is unique. There are only three main gifted programming organizations in the U.S., and that's us, Center for Talented Youth at Johns Hopkins, which we started out of, and CTD in Center for Talent Development. So there is a lot of competition to get in. We can't, and in summer studies, we have 263 classes at 12 university sites for our 7th through 10th graders. So we have anywhere from 14 to 18 students, and we have an instructor and a TA in there. So that's a very small ratio of students to staff. So we cannot accommodate everyone who qualifies, unfortunately. So we are accommodating about 4,500 students for the 7th through 10th grade programs at the 12 summer studies sites. So to answer specifically your question about how many apply, a lot more than 4,500. That our admissions department would have all the statistics on that, but you're absolutely right in saying that there are some sites that are more popular than others, but we do fill at close to 100% across all of our sites. So we do recommend that students pick pick 5 classes that they would be willing to take, and then to accept if they are willing to go and study that in depth in the summer, to accept their placement, or you can be put on a waiting list if someone else doesn't accept their placement. So it is competitive in that way, and we are expanding. I can tell you, when I came in 2009, we had just opened 2 new sites, and we only had 9 sites at that time, and we have added 3 additional ones. So we have grown by leaps and bounds in those past few years, so to try to keep up with the demand. But we are very, very conscious of quality. And so we can't just, go to every university in the Southeast and say, okay, we want to run a summer camp, because there's so much more that it takes. There's teams of us who go out and look at these university sites. We look at what are the resources there, what can they provide, what can our students do with the local resources at that university, what academic field trips are available, is this a safe space, with the surrounding city. And so there's so many considerations, and so that's why there is a limited number of spaces. Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you.
Sally's right. We are looking for more spaces, but I think the other thing that Sally works really hard to do is to make sure that she finds the caliber of instructors that you would want. And that is somewhat of a limited pool to find the right people to be RCs, to be TAs, to be instructors. So again, we work with that and we hope to expand again next year and build that capacity.
Good morning. Quick question for you on the summer studies or some of the online academics. Is the getting academic credit for these courses? So I've gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and I'm from Hillsborough County, so very large school district that you guys pull from, and it seems that nobody's ever tried to do this before to be able to get either high school credit or college credit, and it seems like something that you guys should be able to pave the way a little bit easier than me trying to do it myself, working with these academic professionals to be able to get the credit, because I assume now when he takes a course, he's going to take architecture at Davidson, he's probably not going to want to take architecture again, the same course. And so how do I get him credit for that so he can move past it to something else that fits his needs?
Yes. State law delegates the course credit to the high school. And so that is by law assigned by the school that your child is in. We are happy to provide you with some supporting information. You'll have syllabus, you'll have a rubric that you'll be able to take, but by law it is that. The other piece for us is we want to be able to open the students' minds to something that may not be for credit. And so it's a matter of whether or not your school is willing to give credit, but we're happy to work with you as you try to get that. We aren't quite sure who's pounding on the door, but Brian's going to work on that for us. Okay, sorry. Yeah, all right. That's great.
Good morning. My name is Yanira Gilad, and my question is actually for David, and I know specific to the academic year programs. How can we get more? I work with a school district in South Texas, and my interest is getting students connected to the programs, and how can we support them in the application process, build awareness, and then get them engaged in the programs throughout the year?
Sure, that's a great question. I'm always happy to have people trying to get students more engaged and involved. So for programs on the academic year that are run not in North Carolina, I run those in partnership with some local institutions. And so for you specifically, it probably makes sense for us to talk when we're done here so I can find out what's actually closest to where you are. In general, we have information on the TIP website that also then links to information on the host institutions site. So registration for the North Carolina sites are done through the regular TIP site. The rest for other institutions are done through their host institutions site. And so once again, it's going to depend a little bit on where you are and what is most convenient and local to you. But there, obviously this time of year, there's not a lot of push for information on the academic year program since those have just wrapped up for the year. Mid to late summer, there'll be a push on the sort of marketing side, and that mostly happens through our websites and then through geographically targeted emails. And so if students are in our talent search and within the local region to those program sites, they should be getting targeted emails with notifications about what the classes are, where they're being held, when they're being held, how to register, and all that information. But that also can be found through our website or from me. And so when we're done with this, please make sure you find me and you and I can talk about what makes sense with where you are, and I can make sure you have all that information as well.
And David is opening another site at Rollins too that we'll be running out of our office down in Florida this year too. So those of you that are coming from that area might keep that one in mind. Other questions?
Hi, my name is Shannon, and you mentioned the eStudies program and how it was not self-paced, and I was wondering if there were any online programs that were self-paced.
Hi, thank you for your question. So we do our online programming that are programs that are instructor-led, because we so strongly believe in the community aspect of the program, those won't be self-paced, so we won't have an instructor leading a group of 24 students all on 24 different schedules, because that's quite ambitious. That doesn't mean it's off the table, but we're not doing it at the time. What we do have and what we can offer are our independent learning study options. I wouldn't call those a program quite, because they aren't starting at a certain date and ending at a certain date with an admissions period. Those are available to any student in our talent search. And those programs or those experiences are online. They sometimes have an accompanying book or resource, and you could look them up on our website, tip.duke.edu/learn, and that's how you could get to our independent learning offerings. We have those for 4th through 12th grade students. We have a partnership with Rosetta Stone, so we can offer a customized Duke Tip Rosetta Stone language learning experience that's self-paced as well. So if you're interested in that, that's available for 4th through 12th graders. But independent learning or Rosetta Stone is where I would point you, rather than eStudies or eInvestigators.
Good morning. Under the paper concerning the 2016 Distinguished Alumni Awards, there is a list of alumni and a list of TIP courses they have taken. What TIP courses are they referring to? Like summer studies programs or?
Most of those would be summer studies programs, partly due to the age of those participants. And as time goes on and some of our newer programs, our students have had a chance to be there, you'll probably see some of those in that too. That's a great question. Thank you. How's this side of the room doing? Y'all are awful quiet over here. Other questions? Yeah, we've got one over here.
Hi, my question is for Brian, and this is just a logistical question. My younger daughter has arthritis, and she's in the 4th grade, but if she wanted to do one of the summer programs, the residential programs, would there be a nurse that could give her her weekly injections, or would she have to give those herself?
There's a lot of situations like that among the students that want to participate in TIP, and actually so many so, especially for allergies, that we now have a program coordinator for accommodations. It has become a full-time job to deal with all of those situations, and so that specific, I couldn't answer definitely, but we could work on a solution for that. A lot of clinics are shy about injections, and so we have a process worked out for families to have that done. We are actually just now at the point of having nurses on staff or student health coordinators at our summer study sites, and that's a new thing for us, and so we're developing those protocols with Duke Student Health and the Med Center to help us know how that's going to work out. The way that we have been doing it is that we have a medication room, and so when on arrival at check-in, students turn over their medications to the med room, and then we open the med room several times a day, and they go for medications. But that's something that we would work out very specifically with you. There's also a page in our application, or actually in our follow-up documentation, for students that need physical accommodations. And so there's information that goes to Duke's Student Disabilities Office and Accommodations Office, and they would come up with, they would help come up with that solution.
Good morning. My name is Vinod Kadadi. Thanks for having us over here. My question is about the field study program. So through an example, maybe if you can talk a little bit about the objective of the program and what do the students do and achieve over the duration of the program.
So the field studies programs, we have various different courses, and some of them are traveling courses, like I mentioned, the Berlin, The Hague, and Costa Rica. So it very much depends on which particular course it is, but students have a cultural aspect in many of those courses. So they do a cultural orientation, We do not require a language requirement for any of the out-of-country field study courses. All of those are taught in English, but there is very often a cultural, well, there is, any traveling program, there is a cultural component, and that includes our course in New Mexico, so they're learning about the indigenous population there, colonialism, archaeology, in addition to the creative writing aspect in New Mexico. And then for our course that's going to Berlin, they get a lot of historical context. They're visiting museums and cultural sites in addition to their coursework. For field studies, we typically have 6 to 7 hours of academic study a day, Monday through Friday. And that academic study in a traveling environment could be part of a curated museum. We have political simulations. We have students who visit parliament or courts. We have guest speakers. We have, in the case of the Netherlands, they visit the Anne Frank Museum and go on a canal boat tour in Amsterdam. So we're really looking to make sure that we're connecting students with some of the other learning opportunities that they can have, in addition to targeted readings, discussions, debates, and things like that.
Mary had 2 students who went to Perry last year that co-published research papers with the scientists there at Perry, and I was very excited to see those news of those come out.
Hi. I actually have a few questions. The first one is for you. I just want to clarify, is admission to most of the summer programs competitive, or is it just the rush to enroll when the enrollment opens?
Well, the programs operate differently. Mary's program is much more like a college admissions program where you put together really a portfolio of things that show what the student has done. So when she said that was not a base score requirement, that's what she was talking about. Our summer studies programs, there are qualifying scores for different ones. If you're in here, you're probably going to be qualifying for our center level programs to be invited to grand recognition here. And certain campuses have certain courses on them. And so that's, again, part of our efforts to make students able to take care of the resources that are there and to match their capabilities with the opportunity that's there. So there's a lot going into that. But there is a lot of competition for those spaces, again, simply because we don't have as many spaces as much as we do have interest.
Okay, so there are applications that are being read and evaluated, and then you're choosing a cohort of students.
That's for Mary's program.
But for the other
For summer studies programs, and I guess for all of our other programs, it is more of you send the application in. We give our applications are batched on a daily basis so that we don't advantage people in a certain time zone or people who can be home to get it in early. They're batched on a daily basis with a random number, and that's the order in which those applications would be processed. Now, the choices the student makes on that in terms of ranking those courses, that has a lot to do with how easily it is to get into certain courses as well, too. If a student only gives us one choice, that certainly is tougher to place than it is a student who gives us 9 different choices.
Okay.
So it's always hard, and it's always very painful for us when all of these come in and we can't accommodate all the students that we would like.
Sure.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I ask another question?
Let's let somebody else have a turn, and we'll all be around here.
Good morning. My name is Joan, and my question is in regards to the summer program. I know that session 1 is right around the corner, and previous to getting, information for the grand ceremony, I know that the students were allowed to give information about their likes and dislikes and possibilities for roommate choices. This will be the first time that my daughter will be going away, and so I just was curious as to whether we are going to receive any type of information in terms of things that they are allowed to bring with them, in terms of just, since they'll be away from home, and so what type of things are we allowed to bring with them, and if we will find out about roommates prior to going to the various campuses.
Thank you for your question. So yes, we do have a questionnaire that we provide for families in our summer studies program. That is for our residence life staff who are seasonal. They arrive about 5 to 10 days, it really depends on the position, before the students arrive. And they will utilize those questionnaires days before the students arrive, so not even right now, to do the pairings with students. They'll pair those students together based upon who might have certain pet peeves, maybe they're a night owl or early bird, maybe they have like hobbies, or maybe they're curious about getting to know something else about what another student is fond of. And so they do those room assignments based upon that. As well, we house our students based upon their sex, their grade level, and those interests that they share. And so she will not receive a formal communication from us prior to arriving to the campus with regard to who her roommate is, similar to how some of our colleges and universities are doing now, and folks are Facebooking each other and figuring out who's going to bring what. There's not really a need for that. Once they arrive on campus, they'll have the opportunity to meet each other. Typically, it's just one other roommate. It really ultimately depends on the format of the building as well. For Marine Lab, for example, it could be triples to a room. So it all depends on the format. Now, with regards to what to bring, we actually do have a packing list on the last page of the Summer Studies Guide. That's available online to you, and then, of course, you probably have already seen that in the student portal that you're accessing online. But there is a packing list available to you to glance at. It'll tell you what size sheets and, the types of toiletry caddies and things like that to bring, whether to bring a poncho or just random types of things that you might be thinking to pack. Our staff are available in the event that a student might forget something. They will do a supply run here and there within the term. So if you're flying in and you're concerned about bringing laundry detergent, for example, don't worry about that. We can make sure that the staff can go out and get that for your student should they need it once they're on site. We do a laundry 101 for our students. If you're ever wondering how they're actually going to do their laundry, it works. Everything will come back, hopefully not soiled, and But with regards to things to bring, definitely access that list. If you run into additional questions, feel free to contact our office, and you can ask to speak with me, Paris Andrew. And I would love to answer any additional questions for the residential things that they might need. For summer studies, as far as quirky things, definitely for the dances, you want to bring something formal. Usually the last dance and the last weekend is formal. And then the others are random. It might be a backwards prom, they like to call MORP. So it can all vary. And then there's usually a spirit week as well. So definitely bring things that represent who your student is as far as clothing. Okay? Thanks.
And I'm not sure if that May posting is up yet or not, but it will be probably this week if it's not already up there, the list she's talking about there. Let me just say one thing for the parents. Our staff works really hard in Paris, and the staff work hard to help support students. All students are going to get homesick. They're away from home 3 weeks at a time. You're going to get a little kid sick too, and you're going to miss your child there. One thing I would like to say is our staff is really set up to help support those students with that. And sometimes your best of intentions in terms of calling them frequently may make that homesick a little bit worse for them, because they get on the phone right before they go to bed and suddenly, ooh, it would be nice to be home in my own bed. It's a little tough. So I guess one of the challenges I'd like to issue to you as families is to let them have that 3 weeks and let them practice this before they have a chance to go off to college full time. And I know that that's sometimes a challenge for all of us, because one reason your child is sitting here today is the interest and the support you've given them through the years. So just do keep that in mind, is they'll have some homesickness to work through, and you'll have a little bit of missing your child to work through as well. We have another question here. Got one back here, Susan?
Hi, my name is Samuel. I was wondering about the room situation with the residential. Let's say you had a friend also coming to Duke Tip with you. Could you perhaps link applications so you can get the same room with them?
For our summer studies program, unfortunately, we don't do roommate assignment requests. or we don't accept them. However, there's a high likelihood that you would likely be in the same residential group with them, living literally maybe next door even, because if you are in the same grade level, maybe even if you're not taking the same class as each other, you probably have a more likelihood of being roommates or in the same residential group. We try not to put students with another student who might be in the same class as them as a roommate, because clearly they're already getting those 108 contact hours in the classroom setting, so we try to give them that breadth of an experience, getting to know someone else. The crisis program for the 5th through 6th graders, which clearly you've aged out of, but that program actually does provide roommate assignment requests, so we do accommodate those for the younger students.
We've got just a few more minutes of questions, and then we'll give you a break before the admissions discussion happens. Yes?
Hi, my name is S.V. Sitana. I have a question on safety, security, and discipline. How do you handle, and what is your history, please?
Okay. I did not catch all of that. Susan, can you?
Safety, security, and discipline.
Security. Okay, great. Thank you.
And any drug issues and other things, how do you handle? Who handles, and what kind of record do you have?
Safety and security is always our number one priority. It's even a higher priority than educating you. And Paris made a reference to it in the talk that she gave. I tell families that if the parents could cover their ears and the students could listen, it's an awesome college experience. And if the kids could take their hands down and the parents listen, it is absolutely nothing like college. It is the number one best type of college visit you could ever have. You're going to be there for 3 weeks. You're going to use the library. You're going to use the classrooms and the labs, the facilities, the residence halls, the athletic fields. You're going to see and experience pretty much everything there is to experience, except for freedom. Paris mentioned that we walk our students places. You won't experience that as an 18-year-old freshman. And so we use a model called active supervision. And so when our students wake up and go to breakfast, they are somehow supervised directly and indirectly all day long until the lights go out. And then even after the lights go out, which they don't always know about. One of our former colleagues invented a system of putting room numbers in the windows, and so the night crew that goes around outside could see who wasn't following lights out. But safety is our number one priority. We are in a huge variety of types of college campuses. We have very small, almost rural campuses like Austin College in Sherman, Texas, versus Georgia Tech for 8th through 10th grade students in Atlanta. And so we deal, and we're accustomed to dealing with a lot of different types of campuses and settings. And so we have our own system of supervision and security. A lot of our students are not used to locking things. They're used to laying them around or walking away from things and coming back, and we're very cognizant of those types of security issues as well as personal safety. And so our philosophy, just like Paris mentioned, we do Laundry 101, we do Safety 101 as well. And so at that very first arrival night orientation, there's a lot of that presentation is about safety and security and making sure that they are safe themselves and that their possessions and items are safe as well. Does that answer everything? Sure.
I think we can take about one more question before time for break.
Can I ask it?
Yeah. You got a question to?
Talk about financial aid.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that we would like you to be aware of is that Duke is very committed to providing financial aid so that the cost of programming is not a barrier for students. We've been very proud that the last, I believe, 3 years, we have had sufficient financial aid available to meet the need of anyone who qualified for financial aid. And so that is a range of programming based on, a range of aid based on the need of the family. And we do take into account not only family income, but family size. So that's really important to us. And so I was a parent whose child qualified, and I hid the brochure because it never crossed my mind that I might have qualified for financial aid, but I should have. So I hope that that won't be an impediment for any of you. Okay, one more question from out there. One right here in front.
Good morning. Really quick question. My son is participating in the summer studies program at Trinity University, and it's a writing intensive course. Should he or should he not bring his laptop?
Thank you for that question. That is something that we have changed our computer policy in the past few years to allow students now to bring their laptops. He is welcome to, if he is comfortable with that and you are comfortable with that. Not all students will. What we have found since we've changed this policy is that a lot of parents aren't comfortable with sending their children with a big, heavy, expensive laptop. And so what they tend to do is send them with an iPad or notebook computer, something a little lighter. But it is up to the instructors when they have them in class. And I know that there are sometimes concerns about, them being online and that kind of thing. So it is quite a responsibility for them to bring them. We do have computer lab access at all of our sites. One of the things that is interesting about living in this day and age with having fewer computer labs because most college students are bringing their own laptops. So we have a hybrid model of we have iPads at each of our sites, not a one-to-one for one per every student, but we have them available for checkout by the instructors for their students. We have computer lab access. We have computers in our library sites. So there is access for online, but that's up to you as the parent and up to him to know if he's comfortable with that responsibility. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for getting here early this morning to be here with us. We're very glad to be here. You can tell what a fabulous team we have working. There are other people out here that are also working on these programs. So grab any of us to ask questions during break. And at 10:30, we'll begin the program around admissions. Thank you very much.